Hello, Tenika. How are you today?
I'm doing extremely well, Megan. How are you?
I am doing well. I would like to bow to you in this series. Badass.
Mm,
Oh my God.
thank
You
you.
are amazing. So, take me back to when you first read the character breakdown for her. What were you feeling, and where was the moment that you said, I have to play this character?
It was when I first read her breakdown, it said she was from Stephen had given me notes and had described that she was a Cushite warrior. I've never seen that. I've never seen that depicted on in film and television, and it seemed so unique to me that I was like, I have to be a part of this. I have to be able to embody this character in strength, power, resilience. It was an opportunity for me to learn about a society of people that I had never really experienced before in film and television. So I knew from the time I saw Kushite Warrior and Gladiatrix, I was in. I was in 100%.
Well, you obviously had to do a lot of physical training for this role, but tell me about the mental training you had to do because your character goes through, we've only had the privilege of seeing the first five, but oh my God,
Mm.
goes through so much in those five episodes for you. How did that affect you mentally, and how did you manage to stay in this role for a character that just is thrown obstacle after obstacle every episode?
That's a really good question. To be honest, I think any hero's journey has challenges and obstacles in it. And I know I've been through many difficult situations and had to, sit in the mirror and talk to myself, and say, you can do this, you can get through, and then push up against something very difficult. So I feel like life really trained me for this moment. Now it's embellished and it's exaggerated to fit the world of Spartacus, but I think anybody watching the show who has pushed through difficult circumstances will understand what that mental battle is. The thing inside of you that keeps you resilient and strong and keeps on telling yourself, yes, I can. That is the thing that it took to be able to play Achillea.
What about the trust that you had to not only have in yourself, but with your cast members, the crew, because you were put in a lot of vulnerable situations,
Right.
not only physical, but you're put in a lot of vulnerable situations. So for you, how do you build trust in yourself, but also in those surrounding you to be able to pull off a character like her?
It's I know what I'm capable of. I mean, I've fought for many years in my martial arts, and was beaten terribly by men until I began to get much better. Right. So I think that mental fortitude allowed me to be able to play Achillea and do her justice. But I would definitely say, the show is about the Ludus, and there's a brotherhood in that Ludus, and we became, I would say they're kind of like a wolf pack,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, they're not going to be super nice to you in the beginning when they first see you. They might snarl their teeth and, say some things, but eventually when they respect and they bring you into the fold, they will do anything to protect you. And I feel like comfort that me and the gladiators were able to form, it became like a family. And I always call them my wolf pack because they were there. And so in moments that I found things difficult and challenging, drawing upon the strength of that pack to be able to keep on fighting and keep on doing what we were doing together, that is really what allowed us to be able to, I guess, succeed in the best way possible in these circumstances in this world.
Was there a particular moment that you can just think of off the top of your head where you really felt that trust?
Yeah, I would definitely say we had a very difficult scene that we had to shoot in episode 2. And I remember, in that moment being like, what sort of attitude do I want to bring to this? Is it just going to be, really terrible and a negative circumstance? Or are we going to find a way to tell truth to this moment in such a way that each one of us feel empowered? And I think that's very important that Achilles is not a victim by any means at all. And I knew to be able to play difficult moments like that, we'd have to focus on the empowerment. So me and my two Wolfpack brothers, we looked at it and we said, let's bring all of our rawness and our truth and our grittiness to this moment to show how this character is able to break through and find her empowerment through it. And
She does.
that's the attitude that we took.
And that's the amazing thing about her journey is even though she is, she's a female in a world of men. She is a woman of color, which is not something that, has ever really been touched upon in the history of the gladiators for,
Right?
especially for a woman. So to be able to see that on screen, you're impacting so many people. Is there any pressure to that? Or do you just feel, as you said, empowered by that?
I feel a responsibility. I feel as though I was that little girl watching film and television and, looking for a character that looked like me. I loved my X-Men. I loved Xena Warrior Princess, but they didn't look like me. So I believe that fueled a fire inside of me to say, I want to do something to be able to be a part of evolving that. And when Achillea came, I knew we had the ability to be able to create a role model, an archetype, something different that hasn't been seen before, so that one day there might be someone else who's younger or in a position where they need to be empowered or strong, and they will have that archetype and that character, Achillea, to look at and say, maybe I can break through. Maybe I can find my inner strength too.
I mean, Achilles amazing. As we've already touched on multiple things that, she goes through, but you yourself, no one else could have pulled this role off, in my
Mhm.
opinion. You just bring a whole new layer to her. She's fierce, sexy, powerful. So for you, why should fans watch the new series?
Fans should watch the new series because, first of all, Spartacus is awesome, number one. But it's the same bloody, sexy, drama-filled world of Spartacus that fans have gotten used to. But this new chapter, what it does allow us to be able to do is center on power, on resilience, on legacy, on defying expectations. And I do believe it's a very modern, fresh perspective that is taken because we're at a point right now where defying expectations and breaking out of molds and finding a way to find a place in a world where sometimes we may feel like outsiders or underdogs or have challenges in front of us. That's something that speaks to anyone. So I believe that these characters and the drama that we have and just this pure strength and ferociousness of all of these cast members and all of these stories that are being told will allow anybody to jump into this season, but also they'll feel excited with us as we go on this journey to see what happens next.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I am super excited for everyone to watch you kick ass in this series.
Thank you so much.